Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Happy Monday morning. The show today brought to you by Allergies. You got it?
Yeah.
All right, he's gonna be all right. This is Run It Back, and I just want to do a quick intro. It's our second Monday back. Feels like our 9th. Is it because of the time?
Yeah.
It's
early.
I can't. Chandler Parsons, Lou Williams, and Shams joining us from his award-winning home in Chicago. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Michelle? I haven't won as many awards as you, but hopefully I get on the Emmy level soon.
Oh, that's not, no, they're not good at all. We have got a lot of basketball to talk because, after all, it's been an entire weekend since we last saw you guys, and we did have an overtime game last night, which is fun. I don't know where we're ranking the Kings and the teams in California, but they got things done last night, took out the Lakers 132-127. Anthony Davis 30, 16, and 3. LeBron had 27 points, and De'Aaron Fox 37, 8, and 4. All right. AD's always going to be a topic, right, Chandler? I think that's fair. He's averaging 25 and 12, but he does go on a few of these longer stretches where you kind of forget that he's on the offense. What can he do? How does he be more aggressive?
I mean, listen, when you look at his numbers, they're very good. 26, 12, 3. He's efficient. He's playing good. But what bothers me is, for overtime, for example, he doesn't get the ball one time in overtime. They don't make it a point to get the ball. Then they settle for step-back jumpers, and it just doesn't go well. And the only time he even got a touch in overtime was getting on the offensive glass and getting a couple of tip-ins. But when the game is like this, and you know you're on the front end of a back-to-back, I would just love to see him literally bark, dominate, get the ball, get to the foul line, and get going. Because last night, during overtime, they settled for way too many jumpers. They got inefficient shots, low percent shots, and it hurts them. As the focal point of this team, as the face of the franchise, as LeBron says, they gotta go through him. They gotta get involved, especially in overtime when, again, they're playing tonight now against Orlando. They needed that win last night, and he didn't show that aggressiveness that I would have loved to see.
Yeah, how do you get a...
Yeah, we always had an old school rule. When the games are close and you got a guy in a post like that, we got to throw the ball down low, slow the game up, and give us an opportunity to get a quick layup, get something at the rim, or get fouled. That way we can kind of shift that momentum back our way. I would like to see him play with his back to the basket a little bit more.
Yeah. God, it's frustrating, isn't it? Look, LeBron played 35 minutes and 39 against the Kings, so that's 2 games back-to-back, and this was in overtime. I know he seemed frustrated that first game when he came out with fewer minutes, but is this the plan, Shams? Are we going to see these types of minutes for LeBron moving forward?
I really think it's going to fluctuate. I think if it was up to the Lakers, if it was up to Darvin Ham, they would limit his minutes for sure between that 28 to 30 minute range. I mean, if that's on them, but they're not going to win many games, I think, over the course of a season by limiting LeBron under 30 minutes, because you're trying to monitor his foot. He just had a torn tendon injury at the end of last season. He had to rehab it, recover all season. But it's obvious that with this Lakers team still, they need LeBron James to be a focal point. They need him to lead the offense. And I think last night, down the stretch, Anthony Davis for sure could have been aggressive. There were a couple lineup adjustments that could have been made as well. I mean, when you think about Gabe Vincent, 2 points in over 30 minutes of action. D'Angelo Russell, you saw him turn it on second half of the game. Rui Hachimura, I think in the second half, when the Lakers started to get back in it, get a little bit more control of the game, he played really well. They went away from him down the stretch too. So I think from a schematic perspective, from rotations, Darvin Ham, it'll be curious how he moves forward. But like Chandler said, they needed that first game of this back-to-back. We'll see if LeBron plays the night on this back-to-back. But I would expect in any given game, LeBron James' minutes could be as low as that 28 to 30 range, or could be well into the 30s like we've seen the last couple games.
And also, to start that overtime, the Kings started Fox on LeBron and Harrison Barnes on Anthony Davis. And how is Taurean Prince getting a shot? How is D'Lo getting a shot? You have to make it a point to get the ball to your best 2 players, play a 2-man game, give the ball to AD off the post, force them to double team, and then take those open looks. Not these early in the shot clock step-back threes that they were forced to take, and overtime was a disaster.
And as far as his minutes go, Bron didn't play a lot in the preseason. I think he's still trying to find his rhythm. Very much like Shams mentioned, I think his minutes fluctuate. It's going to be a game-by-game decision on how much he plays, how much they're going to monitor his minutes. But I think right now he's still trying to find that rhythm early on.
It's crazy to think about. I mean, he does not like when his minutes are limited. We've seen that already in this very short season so far. Look, they got 5 new players in the rotation this offseason, Gabe Vincent being one of them, who has looked a little deer in headlights a couple times already. How long, Lou, realistically does it take to get new dudes in and comfortable?
Yeah, it really depends. I think it's just a chemistry thing. You know, the reality is these guys have probably been together a little bit less than a month. They've probably done a quick little pre-training camp thing somewhere sunny and nice to try to build some of that camaraderie. Then training camp is now about 5-6 days, and then you go right into preseason. These guys hadn't spent a lot of time together, and it's kind of showing, but it takes time.
And on the flip side, these guys aren't the main pieces that we're at, right? These guys are role plug-and-play players, the Jackson Hayes, the Taurean Prince. They have their foundation pieces back. So it's these guys' job to stay after practice, to go early, to get used to the offense, understand where guys like the ball. And like last night, again, in overtime, it seems like they could have made that more of a priority to get him the ball, and they didn't. But everything's a process. When you add anything to your team, a star, a role player, whatever, it takes time, and it's a long season.
So a guy that used to be a role player, but now is one of the main guys, Austin Reeves. Pretty much a no-show. 1 for 12 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. You know, he got paid, and with that comes a whole different set of spotlights. Are you surprised at all at what he's done so far, or what he hasn't done so far?
I'm surprised a little bit because he is an efficient player, right? And he doesn't really force, he picks and chooses. He's a great player to play with LeBron, with Anthony Davis. But you can blame this on, you know, he had a long summer, he played on Team USA, or you could just blame it on him. Now he's in that household name category where he's a part of the
No
scouting
blame. He
report.
just got to play better.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Listen, you're part of the Lake Show now.
Yeah.
You got to play better.
And again, if he did this last year in the 3rd game of the season, no one would talk about it.
No.
They didn't care because anything he did was great. It was production.
Look at him go.
Now there's that pressure. Now you're on the scouting report. Now you're part of the plan is to stop you. And he's not getting as easy of looks, and he's maybe getting blitzed in pick and rolls where he wasn't last year, and he's struggling. It's early. I think he'll figure it out. But yeah, there's a lot of expectations. There's pressure. You have to perform, and that's what I talked about the other day when I said I wasn't hating. 15, 5, and 5. They could have used that last night.
Line.
That's a great line.
That's nothing to sniff at. That's a great line.
That is no shade.
Yeah, 15 would have been nice last night. Look, there's not a big time scorer coming off that bench. Is there a world in which you could see him doing that, coming in with the second unit?
Yeah, it has to be either him or D'Angelo Russell. If you let me pick, I say D'Lo. D'Lo is a guy that can go out and get a bucket, create opportunities for other guys coming down the stretch of games, especially at the top of that second quarter. That's such an important stretch of a game where, you know, a lot of the starters are out and everything is worried about that second group. I think you put D'Lo there or you put Austin Reeves there, but one of those guys got to be the guy.
And you can see Darvin Ham, he didn't play Austin Reeves in overtime. He didn't play him at the end of regulation, so he doesn't care who starts. It's whoever happens to be producing that night. And I do agree with Lou. I think it's got to be D'Angelo Russell. I think he's got that game to kind of take over in the second string, mix him in with Christian Wood, and then either LeBron or AD and kind of space out their minutes. But they got to do something. I think Gabe Vincent's the most solid, pure point guard they have just to kind of set everything up. Let D'Lo, let Reeves, let one of those guys kind of run that second string and go get loose.
The Kings are a team that I think people get excited about, young, but they just have that thing where they seem like they're one piece away, Shams. Is there somebody out there that maybe we can look ahead to that they could possibly add during the season?
I think this is two sides of the coin. On one side, we've seen the Kings in years past. They'll make aggressive moves. They'll do things that kind of go away from the consistency. And you have to give this regime in Sacramento a lot of credit. Vivek Ranadive has kind of let Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox go to work and like allowing them to do their job. So they've done that to a great degree. They got back in the playoffs for the first time in whatever it was, 17 years. So, but now I think, I think they are in position. They have a couple tradable contracts. Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, these guys are locked in long term. They're in that contract range, 16, 17, 18 plus million, where you can put together contracts for a star. Two guys that they have that they had conversations on over the summer, you know, had varying degrees of interest in. OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, both with the Raptors. They really inquired a few times on OG Anunoby. I think that's a guy that they have interest in. Both players are expected to be free agents next summer. But overall, I do think with tradable contracts, with all their draft assets, this is a team, Sacramento, that is going to have a lot of flexibility moving forward.
You didn't love that.
I don't know if I love either of those two. I think. Listen, the Sabonis-Fox duo is very good, but you look across the league, there's just better duos. There's trios. There's too much talent where they do need to add that third piece. I don't know who it is. I don't know who's going to be available. That's more Sham's cup of tea. But last year for the Kings, it was a feel-good story.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs. This year it's not that. Now there's expectations again to win, to advance, and this team is good, and they think they're getting better, but it just feels like they're missing something that they got to add.
It's shocking, given that how fun they were and that they were causing havoc with some people, that they didn't do more in the offseason. What would you want to see them at?
I think they're there.
Really?
Yeah, in a league where it's so much turnover with guys switching teams, it's okay to be a little consistent sometimes. And I think those dividends been paying off for the Kings. They're getting better and better.
Is that us? Like, we're just spoiled? We're like, if you don't make 17 moves, then what are you even doing?
Just feels like you're stagnant at that point,
Yeah.
right? Everyone else is doing it, and if they don't win now, it's like that's what we're going to look at to play. It's like the Heat. They didn't make any moves.
True.
Right?
But I think Denver should be a great template for that. You know,
That's also true.
Denver hadn't made a bunch of moves, maybe a role player here and there, but other than that, they've kept that core together.
It's almost like you knew what we were going to talk about next, and they make the argument for you, because the Nuggets handed it to the Oklahoma City Thunder, is the best way to say that. 128-95. It wasn't the worst loss of the night. We'll get to that. Chet Holmgren's first home game. Jokic finished with 28 and 14. Holmgren had 19 and 4. And SGA, 7 points, 7 assists. A little rough night from shooting, 2 of 16. This was a big road win for Denver. I know it's the third game of the season. They're undefeated. What's the biggest weakness? Point something out.
I mean, we'd be nitpicking at this point,
No.
right? I mean, I guess defensively, there's some holes there. It's as if I'm an opposing team, I'm trying to go at Joker. I'm trying to get him in foul trouble. Michael Porter Jr. These guys, they're not defense first guys. Obviously, you look at the health. They need Jamal Murray to be healthy, and it seems like he is that right now. He's thriving. He's playing really, really good, but. Man, it's tough because they have that consistency. They play so unselfish. They move the ball. They have this dynamic duo that's proven. Their confidence is high. It's tough, but this shows me the opposite. This shows me that a team that we all think is so good and up and coming. This was a little piece of humble pie for the Thunder. That it's a different league so far.
Okay, maybe, but they are a young team, and we are excited to watch them play. Our loss, by the way, I'm setting all of this up for the Spurs here in a few minutes because I'm going to ask the same questions. When you're young like this and you get it handed to you like they did, there's got to be a lot of learning lessons in that, right?
No, not when you get whooped.
Dang it.
When you get whooped by 33, it's not much to learn. One thing you can learn, this team is going to go as SGA goes.
Okay.
If he struggle, they're going to struggle. 80% of the time, if he's out there, he's out there not playing well, they're going to lose bad. It's simple as that.
Man, no pressure on him, I suppose. The sense on this OKC core and its longevity, Shams, what do you take from what they have? Again, it's a team I think most people who watch the league are pretty excited to see where they head.
I mean, Lou literally said it best. This team goes how SGA go. I think all those guys, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, they all look up to SGA. And last night, 2 of 16 shooting. He goes 1 of 4 with KCP guarding him. 2 points. So KCP, an elite defender. Michael Malone after the game stamped him as an all-defensive type defender. We'll see if he gets that nod this year. I think he's been in the league for a really long time. But I think for the Thunder, they do have a sense of longevity. I think when I talk to people around the organization, around the players, this is a tight-knit group, and I think there's not much ego yet. There's not much guys trying to jockey for position. They know SGA is the man. He's the king of that organization, and they're all following his lead. And I think, I think SGA, everyone's talked about his future, whether he wants to be there long term. He wants to, and he wants to build that core, and I think he sees that there's something special there.
The Oklahoma City fans are happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Wants to be there long term. And Chet Holmgren, like I said, first home game for him officially now, and he finished with 19 points. How impressed? What do you see from him?
I'm super impressed. And on the SGA topic, with this young core, I love it.
I love it
because now I can grow with these kids. There's so much talent on this team, and the future is so bright. And especially with this kid, he picks his spots. He's not forcing. He's showing us a little bit of everything. He's posting up. He's beating you off the dribble. He's stepping back. He's picking, popping for threes. It's showing you that he took this summer seriously. And last year he wanted to play, and the injury kind of put him in this mindset where he is going to work on his game. He's going to get stronger. He's going to fit in with this team. This team had success last year without him, and he's almost going into these games. How can I help? I'm going to pick my spots. He's shooting a crazy clip efficiency from the field. I hate to say I picked him as Rookie of the Year.
Do you hate it?
I think you did too, right?
Nah.
No, you switched it up. You went
I
Scoot.
went with Scoot.
Yeah, he went Scoot.
But he looks ready, and again, he doesn't look like a rookie. He looks like a guy that's been there for a year, that's more
poised.
Yeah, he looks more comfortable than these other guys that you're seeing having very up and down starts.
Jokic had the quote about him that I just wish somebody would say about me once in my life. Not the needs experience part, haha, but the part about needs to be fatter. It's my favorite thing ever. Do you agree? I mean, he might just be built that way, right?
No, listen, he's built that way, but at this point, he's skinny, he's slim right now,
So skinny.
but he looks great. He looks poised. He still looks stronger to me.
Yeah,
and like Chandler mentioned, man, that extra year that he's had due to injury, he looks like he's pro-ready. I don't think he needs to be fatter. Look, does Kevin Durant needs to be fatter?
That's what I was gonna say. Remember when Kevin
Fair.
Durant came out at the combine, he couldn't do the bench press,
Yeah.
and everyone tried to make that a big deal. His body looks the same then as it does now, and he's one of the best players of all time. So that's just how his frame is. He's not gonna ever turn into this physical specimen. He's mobile, he's limber.
It may ruin him if he does.
Yeah, like this is.
He is what he
listen,
is.
On the
But
flip
it's just
side, though,
funny,
if
though.
Joker's saying it, if he shows me his ways, how to do it, shit, maybe do it.
To be fatter is my favorite thing ever. The NBA was a little bit weird last night. Hawks Bucks. This was big. In Milwaukee, Hawks beat the Milwaukee Bucks 127-110. Here's the thing: Dame Lillard had 6 points in 29 minutes, 0 of those in the first half at all. Trae Young 20 and 11. Giannis finished with 26 and 11. I remember when the scores were going by last night while we were working. Everyone was like, "Wait, what? What's happening?" No Middleton, but still. What happened here?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Thunder. When Damian Lillard has an awful shooting night like this and it's inefficient, it's tough. And it's Chris Middleton, I think, still is key to this team. People forget because last year he was in and out of the lineup, he was hurt. This team's going to have up and downs. And again, like we're talking about the Lakers, it's going to take time. Dame had a crazy debut, right?
did.
He went nuts. Everyone's looking at that, and now comparing it to this game. Neither of these are going to be the norm, but eventually they're going to find a consistent offense. They're going to get their substitution patterns down, and they need to have Chris Middleton as that third option, second option, number one option some nights. But yeah, when Dame goes 2 for 12 from the field, it's nuts. But the NBA is crazy. This can happen any given night, any team. There's so much talent.
I don't put too much into it. Just a bad shooting night. Guarantee 30-point night for Dame tonight.
Wow.
Big bounce back game.
30. All right, fair enough. Yeah,
A
that
sneak
is
preview for your pick later.
I know.
preview for my pick.
You're giving it away. Yeah, that was a bad shooting night altogether. The Bucks, I guess if you had to pick a concern at all, Shams, with this Milwaukee team, and it's hard to ask this question after what we just saw, but what is it for you in your mind?
I'm not going to overreact to Damian Lillard. I think he's too good of a player. But I think, like Chandler said a little bit, on the Chris Middleton front, he only played 16 minutes in the opener. He's clearly not playing back-to-backs. He sat out last night. He's supposed to play tonight against Miami. To me, this is a guy that had cartilage, surgery for a cartilage issue over the summer. For any player that's dealing with that's Chandler can speak to it a little bit here, but there is a level of concern. This is a guy that closed out games for you on your run to the 2021 NBA Finals. They need Chris Middleton healthy. They need him performing. I'm curious, Chandler, your perspective. This is a guy that's in his 30s. He's dealing with this issue. How do they manage it? How does he manage it?
It's tough because when you start thinking cartilage, I had that where I had microfracture surgery, and nothing feels the same after that. You can feel a constant soreness. The arthritis starts coming. You get stiff, long flights. Anytime you play, the next day you just don't feel like yourself. So I feel his pain. He's probably getting swelling in his knees and his legs, and I don't know his exact injury, but it's hard, and it's hard to manage this throughout such a long season. And again, the back-to-backs, all the travel, the flights. My knees would blow up every single flight. And it was just, my range of motion I would lose. And it was awful. And it wasn't after the meniscus. It was after the cartilage. And there's nothing really you can do. You can't just magically grow that back. So it's something that's going to linger that he's going to have to manage for this season and for the rest of his career.
You just ice it until it goes.
Yeah, there's so many, like I did PRP, you would do different injections. I went to Germany and did the Kobe Regina-kind. There's so many things you can do, but nothing really lasted, and it hurts me right now as I'm sitting here.
Is that why you're not wearing shoes?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hopefully his isn't nearly as bad as mine was, but this is not something you could just fix and replace your cartilage. It's a permanent issue.
So he's just gonna deal until
Yeah.
he's done. All right, that's depressing. Trae Young on the other side of things, we haven't talked really about him yet this season, so now it is time. In his 3 games, he's 4 of 19, 4 of 16, 5 of 14 from the field. These stretches, I think, are normal for Trae Young, but do we need to be concerned? Is this just a beginning thing?
I think with Coach Snyder coming in, he's playing Trae off of the ball a lot. Throughout the course of his career, he's been asked to do a lot of heavy lifting, bringing that ball up, playing in pick and roll every single possession down the floor. Now he's getting different looks on trying to play off of the ball, playing more of a 2 instead of the point guard position. I think he's adjusting. I think he'll figure it out soon enough. It's just new for him, and plus my brother's he's a new father. He probably ain't getting much sleep either.
Oh,
so congrats to Trae.
Yeah, and this is what Trae Young has been his whole career, right? He's a high-volume scorer. People are trying to turn him into this point guard, but this is who he is. He's going to take crazy step-back shots. He's going to take 35-foot threes. He believes he is the best scorer and player every time he steps on that floor, and sometimes it hurts, and he's going to have inefficient nights, but he is the head of this snake, and this team is solid. This was my surprise pick in the Eastern Conference. They're deep. I love guys like Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich. They just re-signed Okongwu. They have the depth, they have the scoring, they have the defensive ability, and I love Quinn Snyder as a coach, but there's going to be multiple nights like this where Trae Young has these inefficient nights, and when he does and they still find a chance to win, that's progress in my eyes.
And like we just mentioned, you're working in new guys. Jalen Johnson is a guy that's been there going into his 3rd season that's getting an opportunity to play now. Okongwu is getting an opportunity to play more meaningful minutes, and those guys are trying to find their footing, and I think Trae is just adjusting to it all.
Moving on. Wait, hold on. I don't want to move on until we get to Flavor Flav. There's no way. I'm calling an audible right now. Like, we cannot not play.
This was almost mean.
Here it is.
Carl Lewis-esque.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave, of the brave, of the brave.
Yeah.
Playing time.
That is horrendous.
Was it?
Horrendous.
Horrendously great.
I liked it.
You said the booking person needs to be
That
raised?
person needs a raise.
Fire
Look,
him. They
went
every
viral.
night-
Fire him.
They
Put
went
it this
viral.
way. Last night I was at the Clippers-Spurs game, and there was an anthem singer, and she did a great job. Am I going to remember that?
We didn't talk about it
No.
today.
Yeah.
That is memorable. And the fact that
Shout out to the booking guy.
he ad-libbed it twice at the end. God, I love him so much. And he's so likable. I think it was just hilarious. Speaking of Clippers-Spurs, was trying to skip this one, but we got to do it. 123-83. That was a big one. Wemby had 11 and 5. Kawhi, 21 points. And the Russ PG combo, 19 points each. It was very much a case of decades of experience versus not a lot. It was my first time seeing Wemby up close and personal. And
How was what was that like?
well, the initial reaction for me, he's just built so. He doesn't look like everyone else. It looks like a kid's on stilts, and it's the craziest thing I've seen in quite some time. But I think there are going to be quite a few of these nights for the Spurs. They play the Suns the next 2 games in Phoenix, so that could be a lot of the same. But for me, I think it's the young guys are going to learn. These are going to be some hard nights.
Is that what you think?
Like, it's right? I mean, what else are you going to take from that? I think it's going to be a lot of learning experiences. Shams, I don't even know what to ask you because it was just such a not a fun game to watch. What did you take away?
I took away, like you said, I think there's going to be a lot of nights like this for Victor Wembanyama. I think he's dealing with a lot of physicality. He's the focus on offense every time he takes the floor. I think this is also a Spurs team that's going with Jeremy Sohan at point guard, and they don't have, they have Trey Jones coming off the bench, so that's a point guard presence, but it's not like off the gates of these games, they're starting off with a starting, veteran caliber point guard on this team that can kind of get everyone in the offense. They're going for more defensive versatility with Sohan. So I think it's a lot of experiment, a lot of trial by error for San Antonio right now. And I think Victor Wembanyama is kind of at the head of it. But I do think hopefully he gets his foul trouble down the next few games. Hopefully he's able to stay on the floor. Because if he stays on the floor, I still think offensively what he can do, how he can shoot, I think we're eventually going to see that over time.
Just sloppy passes left and right. It was a lot. But let's talk about the Clippers because the the Kawhi, PG, Russ Westbrook, you get reminded sometimes that when the three of them are out there together, it really is quite fun to watch. Contender-wise in the West, I know it's stacked. Do they have a shot?
Yeah, and it's always with health with them. And if these three play the way they did last night and they get their bench going, and they get Norman Powell as that explosive scorer off the bench, they're going to be there. And they have the capability to be the best defensive team in the Western Conference. They can switch 1 through 5. They have this versatile lineup they can go to. Russell Westbrook looks great. So this is a team that is very, very dangerous, that has the experience, they have the depth. And again, when you have that versatile lineup of, they have 6, 7, 8 guys that are 6'7" to 6'9" that can switch 1 through 5, they can go small, they can get out in transition. I love their team and I love their roster. They got to stay healthy, and that's been the concern the last couple of years.
We can't predict that, but I do love the fact that Kawhi so far, no minute restrictions. He had 23 and 31. I think Spurs fans are over the breakup. I think we're rooting for him again, and everyone wants to see. As NBA fans, I want to see him play as much as he humanly can. What is his ceiling once again, Lou?
I think he can be a top player again.
Yeah.
As long as he stays on the floor, he's going to get an opportunity to win a lot of basketball games just with his presence on the defensive end, the way that he kind of anchors that offense by just playing with poise, playing at his own pace, and getting them good looks down the court. You know, if you look at these highlights, he's playing at a high level, man, and they're playing well, you know, based on his play, PG's play. And Russ looks happy again.
Yeah.
You know, let's give Russ some credit. As much criticism as he's gotten over the last couple of years, he looks happy again. He looked like he's found a place that he can call home, playing well, man. These guys are going to give somebody a lot of trouble.
It was not that long ago where he was the scapegoat for, like, everything, and he does look happy. I guess my question about Russ is, why is he fitting in so well? But the follow-up to that is, why would you even think about adding James Harden to this team?
At this point, it kind of looks crazy.
It does, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially because how do you use James Harden with these two wing guys that are going to be the focal point of their offense? Russ right now finally feels like he's confident, he's in a groove, and he's being himself.
Yeah.
And this team, it's early, but this team looks to be meshing well. There's no distractions. The NBA is such a circus that there's always some sort of issue on the team. Why bring that to a team that doesn't have anything of that going on right now? So I know teams always want to add a talent, a scoring option. You see the name James Harden, what can you give up? I heard they're not giving up Terrence Mann for him.
No.
Shams, I don't know if that's true. If that was the only thing, maybe I consider it. But again, this team looks to be on the rise. I wouldn't mess it up.
No, I say leave it be. You know, T-Man is one of those, he's a glue guy. You know, he's one of those guys, he's going to play with energy. He's going to give you a lot of defensive presence, going to make open shots, going to streak to the basket. He's just a solid all-around player. So when you have a Russell Westbrook, a Kawhi, and a PG, I don't think you bring another alpha into that.
So Harden remains without a home. Do you remember when the NBA was going to cut down on load management? It's almost like it was 2 days ago. Well, it's not happening. We have to talk about that when Run It Back returns.
To run it back, yeah. Run it up, then run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up.
Beep, 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 beep. That means it's officially Sham Scoops time. All right, we heard so much about the league and the load management and the fact that the data no longer supports what we once thought about it, Shams. And they took a stance. Why now?
Well, I think with the media rights deals coming up, that is a big component of it. And I think just overall, we've seen load management, as they call it, and also guys sitting national TV games and multiple All-Stars sitting out of games. I think that's kind of taken its toll on the league and really teams looking at themselves and the league looking at teams, because at the end of the day, like Lou and Chandler can attest to, is as much as it's on the players for sitting the games, it's also by teams. It's their idea. It's backed by science. So I think now it's like, teams have taken it too far. And I think the two rules that the league has put into place this year: 65 games a player has to play in order to qualify for awards, for all NBA teams, for any postseason awards. You have to play at least 65 games. So that is a big deal for stars. And then the other rule is multiple All-Stars can't sit in a single game, but still we've seen one star could sit for rest, one star could sit for injury. The Phoenix Suns sat 2 of their stars for multiple games already this year, although that does look like it was for serious injury. But listen, I think there's always going to be a workaround for any situation, but this is how the league is trying to curb it.
The fact that he brought up the Suns is interesting because the second game, Booker was out and Beal was out. And despite whatever injury, it's crazy because the optics were immediately like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, and that's how do you control it? Like, how do we know Devin Booker's foot is really hurt? I mean, there's always going to be gray areas. And again, Shams, you said 65 games. That means if I'm Jimmy Butler, that means I can sit out 17 games and do this, throughout the season and not get penalized for it. So
but if he set the third game out already for general soreness or whatever you want to call it.
He's got 16 left.
That's early.
What is general soreness?
And here's my thing.
Summer wasn't enough.
If we're trying to control it and the team is actually looking out for them, wouldn't they say he's sick or back spasms or something? Why would they put general soreness if they're trying to protect him and not make this a load management situation?
I don't know.
The reality of it is at this point, it's become a PR disaster for the NBA. It just is. The narrative is it's all on the players' shoulders. Yeah. Everybody's blaming the players. And like Chandler knows, the players rarely make the decisions on whether they're going to play or not. You have some guys in the locker room that's going to, no matter what you say, you're going to sit out this game or that game. No, I'm going to compete and I'm going to play, and they're going to fight it. Then you have the other guys that are actually dealing with a lot of injuries throughout their careers that need some time off in order for them to finish that season. But players never make the decision whether they're going to play or not. Stop blaming the players for load management.
And here's my problem. Like you said, 95% of the time, it is the medical director, it is the staff, it is the front office decision. When I was in Atlanta, I was hurt. I was coming off injuries. I was on a very, very high salary. I would go to practice, and if I had any swelling at all, they'd shut me down. They wouldn't let me practice. That doesn't make the players soft. That doesn't make, But that is now, they're babied, and they are treated differently, especially with whatever your salary is. So if Paul George goes to the Clippers and he's a little banged up, they're going to protect their own ass, and they're not going to let him play because, God forbid, something else happens and he told them that his ankle was a little sore or whatever. They're the ones getting fired. So when the idea of that these players are sitting out, and there are some soft players, I'm sure, milk injuries and aren't really hurt, but you can sniff them out from a mile away. Guys in that locker room, guys in that organization, they know who's tough, who wants to play. And for the most part, the guys want to play. So the idea of these guys are soft or injury prone, it's not on them. So when they're not playing, and maybe Jimmy Butler's not really hurt, but most of these guys.
But again, we're talking about Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
So we're characterizing this as a Jimmy Butler thing.
Right.
When 9 times out of 10, it's the medical staff that's telling him, this is the schedule. You're going to play this game, that game. We're going to try to ease you on through the season, and then we start using the narrative where, what about the kid that flew 300 miles to, this is my first time seeing
every game
XYZ play, and he's not playing because of load management. You have to stop putting so much of the onus on the players.
Is there a big enough fine for the teams that would make a difference? Because they seem to be the ones making these calls.
I don't know how they would control it, because eventually they would just start lying, right? They would say back spasms is like the international injury. If you see that,
just shorten the season.
Someone's doing that. Like LeBron tonight, he played last night in overtime.
Right.
If he doesn't play tonight, he's hurt. No,
and then how does the James Harden of it all happen?
That's load management. If LeBron doesn't play tonight, it's because they are resting him because he's older than the other guys, and they want him healthy throughout the rest of the season.
That's how they should do it.
It's not because he doesn't want to play.
Yeah, if you're 38 years old, you deserve a night off.
Yeah, your years of service, you should get to be able to miss.
And up.
I think that was taken into consideration to a point. But I also think when you start out this early, like say a Jimmy Butler third game, how do you know that something's not going to happen down the road?
Just don't put rest.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That sounds crazy.
With that being said, again, the third game of the season,
That's
I roll
weird
my eyes.
Yeah, of course.
That's hard not to do that. And with everything, with him even on the bench, smiling, blowing kisses to the crowd, this felt a little light, like on just resting. Like, and even they put rest. There's not even an injury on the so.
Migraines. Oh no, because you wouldn't be in the room if it was something.
Say you're sick and don't go if you don't want to play. But for the team to put rest, it's almost like with all this load management talk, I think it's weird that they didn't protect them. They didn't say something else.
You think they're trying to use the reverse Uno card, like we're gonna load manage at the top of the season, opposed at the end?
I guess.
But that doesn't make sense either.
It doesn't.
It's so confusing. I love shoe deals. De'Aaron Fox got himself a new shoe deal. Shams, talk about it.
De'Aaron Fox, first player ever to sign a Curry brand. Actually, this is the first time an active NBA player has signed to another active NBA player's shoe line. So De'Aaron Fox signs the Curry brand, Stephen Curry's standalone venture with Under Armour that he started in 2020. So De'Aaron Fox has been a sneaker free agent for a few years. He's been rocking Curry brand, Under Armour for the last several months, and now he gets an endorsement deal. I'm curious. I never played in the NBA. Chandler Parsons played in the NBA. I know, obviously, Adidas deal at one point. Lou Williams, you had your own deal over in China. Like, could you ever see yourself playing other and current NBA players' shoes?
Yeah.
You guys take it away here.
I mean, I think at this point, how the shoe deals and how the shoes are structured, you basically have to play in somebody's shoes. All of the team shoes are individual player shoes, whether you're going to play in the Giannis shoes or you're going to play in the PGs, you're going to play in the Steph Currys, you're going to play in James Harden, Trae Youngs. All of the shoes that are being packaged, even for the youth basketball teams and the high school teams are individual player shoes, so it's no way to avoid it, really.
I hate it. I hate it. I would say I do wear Paul George's. I'm gonna find some other Nike shoe when I play the Clippers
for that night,
and there's no way I'm playing against the guy I'm guarding wearing his shoe. I can't do it. He's already up. Yeah, he's already beating me.
Yeah.
I
So
can't
just
do it.
for that game.
So the idea of
Switching it up.
Fox signing with the guy who, by the way, in his conference, in his state,
that
they're
part's
gonna
a
have to
little-
go through. It's a little weird to
But
me.
does De'Aaron has his own shoe under the Curry brand? I think it's like a Jordan brand.
Yeah.
And
then like Kawhi.
but he has his own
Like
shoe,
Zion
like
has
a
his own
Carmelo.
shoe.
Yeah, I
But
think it's
Jordan's
something
not
like that.
currently playing against you in the NBA is the only weird thing for me.
It's weird. I don't know how. It's kind of weird. It's a little weird. I can see what
I'm
you're
okay
saying.
with it. I think give Steph credit, man. It's innovative. It's a little weird that he's a current player, but Curry brand is different than the Steph Curry shoe.
I'll say this too: if it was anybody, I would wear the shoe. It's probably Steph.
Steph for sure.
I was gonna say there's something about the Steph part too. It just feels like
Steph's just likable.
he's likable. There it is. Shams, you're likable too. Oh, what a nice goodbye. We will see you tomorrow bright and early. We're not going anywhere. That man has a family when we come back.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I love this part. Steph Curry, Dylan Brooks.
Hey,
Oh no!
Oh, what are you gonna do?
He got him 3 times in one play.
Oh no!
McCurry coking.
The best part about this too is him talking trash afterwards too, saying he knows about his character. Dylan's made this personal with a lot of guys.
With
so.
everyone.
No.
Is he ever gonna win one of these battles though?
I mean, what does he even do? What is that?
He's like 0 for 10 in these battles.
When you have Wembanyama who just got here, remembering what you say about you, that's the problem.
Yeah, when the rookie's pointing at you, man.
What he said, just Wemby's kind of tall.
He said he's tall, that's it. Speaking of, whoops. Oh, that's awkward.
What is it?
Took it away from Justelhan, yeah.
I mean, this is just freak of nature. Not really impressed with the dunk though.
Oh, it's not that
Yeah,
great a dunk.
honest.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I want that to be much, much, much
Yeah.
more.
Come on, that man has a family. It's gotta be better. It's gotta be better than that.
Actually,
Come on, Conrad.
in fairness, everyone involved here is like 19 or 20. Nobody has a family.
You think he was passing that to Wemby or Sohan?
I don't know. I mean, I would.
Sohan, for
Right?
sure.
Awkward.
It's a good problem to have, I guess. Just throw it up.
I guess.
Help side. Got to be more careful.
This is what we're used to.
We like this.
Yeah.
Hey,
Porzingis' face too is like, ugh. Come on.
that's not even Porzingis' fault. That's Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is the low man.
It's always the worst. Yeah, that should be Drew Holiday outside there taking a charge or swiping, and Porzingis just gets caught in the middle here. You just know sometimes too when you're late. He had to have known it was going to be better.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh man.
He tried to style.
Oh, buddy.
They got Ivy out of the starting lineup. They got the rookie Thompson starting, and then he does this on the break.
He was going for it though. Respect.
What time of this was early too? Second quarter, up 5. Ballsy move, kid. And it wouldn't even been. It was trash even if he made it. He didn't even really do it.
Oh.
Yeah, JJ.
This kid has been bouncy
Shout
all
out
year
JJ.
long.
That's one of my kids right there. That's my rook right there.
Really?
Making me proud.
He
There
went over
is.
everybody.
Saw one of the games. Trey threw it off the backboard to him. This kid's flying
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
That's fun.
Oh, he's a show.
On both of them.
God.
Got the white guy worse.
The
Actually, no.
white
Look at
guy.
Josh Hart. Look at Josh Hart.
Yeah, everyone. That's.
Oh, talk to him.
And then it's.
Get used to it, guys.
Oh,
How rude.
dear
That
Lord.
is just rude, isn't it?
Sengun.
I ain't gonna lie, it's nice to see a white guy get up
Yeah.
there sometimes.
How dare you make
One
this racial?
One time it's a white guy, it's on another white guy, though.
Yeah, white on white crime guy.
Come on. That was vicious. That was vicious. This kid's got game too. He has real game down
I like
there.
his game.
Crafty. Man, I'm sweating.
You guys finished laughing? I'm sweating now. Okay, so we got Dog of the Week. So yes, I'll explain as if I need to at this point. It's a week into the season, and there have been some performances that have stood out. So Dog of the Week, guys that are doing the most. First up, Cam Thomas. He's averaging 33 a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 29 minutes off of the bench, but his team is 0-2, Lou.
Cam Thomas said, ain't nothing funny. I'm here to get a bucket. 36 in his first game in 25 minutes, played well enough. His coach said, nah, I need you in the starting lineup. Second game, goes out and get another 30. Unfortunately, they are 0-2. It ain't enough.
It
ain't
does
enough.
it count? I mean,
Still my Dog of the Week, though.
Yeah,
Some big
it
numbers.
counts. But we're used to this. Remember the streak he was on
Yeah,
last year?
he was on a roll last year.
He
was cooking everybody.
He is a bucket, and I'm glad that they're rewarding him at least by putting him in the starting lineup and just letting him go.
next up, I feel like this is a good pick. Tyrese Maxey got a lot of time now. 30 a game, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. His team's sitting at 2-1.
Yeah, and you know, look at those numbers: 37, 6, high minutes, and he's basically putting that coaching staff, that ownership group on notice. I don't care about James Harden. You have me. I am the future of this team. I will play with that MVP, Joel Embiid, and he's taking an onus on him to dominate, close out games for them, score in multiple ways. This kid, he's always been talented. He took some steps last year. He's a bona fide star, and I'm super happy the way he's playing.
Lou, hear me out. If you're Tyrese Maxey, do you have a little shrine in your house that's all about keeping Harden away, and you just go home every night?
I think he's excited that James is chilling.
Yeah.
I think he's excited that James is chilling. It's showing in his numbers. He's playing at a high clip, anchoring that team, him and Joel and that 1-2 punch. I think he's comfortable where he is. I think he's comfortable where James is.
Yes,
I think he's happy.
Taking full advantage
Yeah.
of the situation.
For sure.
As he should. And our big winner, Dog of the Week, Jalen Duren. His
Monster.
first 3 games look like this. 23, 15, 5-2, 14, 17, 3-2, and 17, 14, 4, and 4 blocks.
That's big
oh,
time.
he's 19. Where do you even start here?
Well, you start with the Detroit Pistons, and I know it's early. They're 2-1, and they are a fun team to watch. And I was saying earlier how I love Cade Cunningham as the most improved player. This kid ain't far behind him because he is dominating. He's physical. He goes after every block shot. He's hard on the offensive glass. He is a physical specimen. And I gotta say, I didn't love him when he came out. I thought he was too raw. I thought he was too high of a pick. He is an absolute monster, and he's starting off the season hot.
I didn't know much about this kid, but 3 straight double-doubles, he's put me on notice. He's made a fan in me, so keep going, kid.
I mean, at 19, realistically, when do we know? Like, when do you really see who someone's going to be in this league?
I mean, someone like him, this is who he is, right? He is a dog. He is physical. He is going to grind you. He's not the most talented guy on the floor, but you don't have to be if you're putting up 18 and 15 as a 19-year-old kid. I mean,
19.
Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully it stays consistent. Hopefully the Detroit Pistons keep winning, because that is rare.
No, I like when Detroit does stuff. The city, like when the Lions were America's team a few minutes ago. Coming up, a superstar that we want to shine a light on, and maybe some picks, maybe. We'll try when Run It Back returns.
Run it up, the running back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Oh, it's Superstar Spotlight time. A little light to the superstar so far, and no doubt, Luka Doncic. He's averaging 41 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists over 2 games.
That's a laughable stat line.
I know. Say it again. 41. All right. Numbers are what he does, but this is something.
It's gross. I just saw him do a Euro, and on the second hop, he stopped, drew the foul, and then finished.
Oh, it's irritating.
I mean, the way he
this.
closed this game out, I mean, listen, that was lucky, but the way he closed this game out, the way he's so fearless, me and Lou were just talking about it, there's not one way to guard this cat. He's the guard version of Jokic. You can't put someone smaller on him and speed him up because he's still gonna go at his pace. You can't put someone big on him because he's gonna blow by you. It doesn't matter, he's getting to his spots. It's a coach's nightmare because I don't know what I would do besides blitz him and pick and rolls. I guess I would try and speed him up and get him in the lane and use his athleticism and make him turn the ball over. But he is unbelievable, and he is the best player on the Dallas Mavericks.
Unlimited range. He steps over half court, can shoot the basketball. You're never going to speed him up. The only thing that I can think of to really slow him down is you got to play the referee game. You got to get the referees involved and kind of get in his head, and where he starts taking the whistles personally and he starts worrying about that. Other than that, he's an unstoppable player.
I mean, you've been there. What would a coach tell you? I know.
We did not stop him.
Was there a plan, though, in place that just didn't work?
Listen, we had some elite defenders. We had some guys that have great reputations for defense. We were giving them different looks. Different guys would guard them. We just weren't successful. So.
And I know he's talking about the Clippers. He's talking.
Yeah.
They had size. They had speed. They were.
We had everything.
Real defensive players.
He cooked them all.
Okay, so the final, he had 49 points against the Nets. 49 points already, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. It's the final of this thing, the end of this game.
Bang.
4 threes.
Same spot.
Sealing this thing.
So you can't guard him like that.
Yeah,
this is good defense. That's just an incredible shot. And this last one's ridiculous.
I'm no defensive stopper, but I know you got to get up on him a little bit more than that.
You have to make him make shots like this.
How about now? See, that's hard.
We'll live with that. We'll live with that. That's classic, great defense, better offense, and that's what you have to do. But you can't give the fake hand and let him jab. He's gonna knock those down.
That last one was just banked a 3. That's
and he's
silly.
saying he told Dorian Finney-Smith he called glass, and he was like, no, you didn't say. He said, I said it in Slovenian, and he didn't understand me.
And he's funny. That's perfect.
And he's got jokes.
And he's going to baseball games in between. Like he's living is what he's doing. So prop party time. I haven't been keeping track. Have we gotten these yet?
I think so.
Okay, good. We'll go with that. Chandler, you're up first.
Yes, I went first. I went Jason Tatum over 25 points tonight. I think he's a bona fide star. He's a bucket. He's going to get that easily. And sticking with the Luka train, didn't play last night. 2.5 against a struggling, banged up, short-handed Grizzlies. Give me the Mavs -2.5 to start off.
Okay.
3-0.
I like it.
I'm betting it all on the Bucks tonight. I got Milwaukee in a bounce-back game against the Heat. And Dame Lillard, with the struggles that he had the last game, I got him over 29.5. I got him going for a 30-piece chicken nugget tonight.
All right, you weren't
like
playing.
That
30.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that.
What do you got, Michelle? Stay hot from last year.
Shut up. I have the Lakers -1.5. And to be honest with you, I have no idea why I pick these things. It's called visions and vibes.
Yeah.
That's how I pick them. And if you were following us last year, you know that didn't work ever. And Golden State's +3.5. And I feel, what?
I don't like either of them.
Why?
Because LeBron's probably not going to play. Then, you know what I mean?
You know what? The Magic's staying in my hotel, and they've been off for they've been here for 4 days. So I feel like, and I saw somebody drive off last night really late, and I'm going to go ahead and assume it was a star. I have no idea
a little
what it was.
banged up.
Yeah, I think they've been living the LA life for the last few days.
It's hard not to.
It kind of scares you into playing well, though.
That's a good
Because you know you're doing so much crap that you're locked in.
Fine, Warriors +3.5 at Pelicans. That's a lot, 3.5.
I don't know. They played last night too. I don't know. I don't know.
Can we keep track of this so tomorrow I
I'm
can
gonna check
talk
that one
smack?
out tonight.
Yeah, I want to come in here tomorrow and
watch it
remind me.
tonight.
Yeah, let's do a recap tomorrow, please.
Tomorrow we will be back. Vince Carter will be joining us as well.
Legend.
Hey,
Legendary.
run it back. Enjoy your Mondays. Nap time.
Run it up, then run it back, yeah. Run it up, then run it back, yeah.